Spring is the perfect time to reconnect to nature, to re-engage with the sun as it starts to grow stronger and stronger, and to reset a circadian rhythm, right? This is the ideal time. So think about this. Winter was feeling like kind of like hibernation time. And now as we start to see more life coming back, so for example, I just saw the geese starting to fly back to Michigan where they typically go south for the winter. And I started to see them come back and I'm starting to see more animals. The snow is still there, but I know it's going to be melting. Even the color of the sky, when I can see it, is reminding me of the spring. And spring is an excellent time to start to develop a really important habit of learning how to use light and nature to heal and thrive. So, first and foremost, what do we do with this spring light? Why is spring light so important? Well, the light in spring is slowly but surely growing stronger and stronger, and the days are getting longer and longer up until the summer solstice. So, for those of you who have maybe never really engaged with the light before, this is a great time to learn how to start to apply that light onto your skin, to learn how to sync your circadian rhythm in the morning, how to use the brighter morning light of UVA rise to improve your neurotransmitter balance, your mood, your metabolism. And that morning spring light is the perfect thing because number one, it's a little bit warmer outside in the spring, but number two, that signal that the light is increasing. And for me, ultraviolet B just appeared. So we're starting to get more and more ultraviolet light. It is a key signal that, okay, we're starting to get into these longer days. And with these longer days is going to come eventually much more intense sunlight. And I want to start to develop a connection to the natural light signals, both into my eyes and onto my skin, with the less intense light of the spring. So in the springtime, I teach people that if you're new to going outside, then this is the light that maybe you've been taught to fear ultraviolet light your whole life. I used to think I had to avoid it at all costs because I always used to burn with the light, but I was misusing the light. And instead, as I slowly started to realize how that weaker ultraviolet light in the spring, and I can slowly start to apply that to my skin. And if I allow that same light that strikes my skin to enter my eyes and sync up, my skin starts to develop a built-in adaptation to the sun. So whereas before when I was doing sun avoidance strategies and maybe wearing sunglasses and then ultimately burning anytime I was out in the sun for an extended period of time, I now can utilize that spring light to build this sun adaptation or solar adaptation on my skin. So it's a beautiful time for perhaps engaging for the very first time with ultraviolet light. And if you've been doing this for a very long time, it's still a good time. This actually then becomes a spring habit that we start to do. So for those of us who have been in this circadian and quantum health world for quite some time, I absolutely look forward to this time of year because my skin hasn't seen much sunlight all winter long. So again, I want to go through that gradual process of adapting my skin to more and more intense ultraviolet light and all the benefits that come from it. Remember, being able to capture sunlight on your skin throughout the day without the fear of burning or without the fear of thinking it's going to cause some harm, you're able to harness the healing power of the sun. So that includes soaking up all of that infrared that we start to feel as warmth. That's another portion of the sun that's going to start to come to us more and more intensely as we approach the summer solstice. That sunlight's going to feel warmer. That portion of sunlight that we feel as warmth is around the mid to far infrared range. And that just so happens to be the perfect wavelength range of light to build exclusion zone water in our bodies, which acts as a really potent source of energy and health for our cells. We have more intense red and near infrared light. That optimizes our mitochondrial function. It causes our mitochondria to make cellular melatonin that cleans up damage inside of our cells all day long and should be the vast majority of melatonin that our body makes throughout the day, but only when we're able to get access to the near infrared light, which is very deficient in modern indoor living. And we also start to, what that red and that near infrared light optimizes water production in the mitochondria, which means that that water then can maintain cellular hydration. And that cellular hydration is additional exclusion zone water or energy for the cell. And then you flip it to the other side of the light spectrum and looking at the ultraviolet light. That ultraviolet light builds melanin on our skin. And if we are actually have more melanated skin, and we can that means we can actually tolerate even more ultraviolet light and derive the healing benefits from it. When ultraviolet light strikes our skin, we produce things like molecular hydrogen in our skin. The same molecular hydrogen that I talk about all the time when it comes to hydrogen-rich water or hydrogen inhalation that can be so therapeutically valuable. We're designed to make that in our skin because the melanin in our skin, which is surrounded by a thin layer of structured water, that melanin pulls in light, and that light is used to catalyze the water molecule or to split the water molecule. And when you split water molecules, you generate molecular hydrogen. And that molecular hydrogen is this bioavailable gas that can diffuse anywhere in my body as antioxidant support, to improve mitochondrial function. It's been shown to improve the activity level or the balance of the gut microbiome. That's why I'm a huge proponent of being able to get sunlight on the skin. And again, springtime is a very important time to start doing that. And so this ultraviolet light then, of course, ultimately makes vitamin D through the skin as well. And when we use ultraviolet light to make vitamin D, we don't just make one form of vitamin D like you do when you take it with a pill. It's vitamin D3. We literally make dozens of metabolites that cannot be formed in the body if we take it through a pill form. They can only be made through this skin-based vitamin D synthesis pathway. And this pathway involves the parts of the vitamin D metabolites that are cancer preventative. And so it's very important that we start to learn how to embrace the increasing light of spring in order to derive all these amazing benefits. Now, not only that, we also reset our circadian rhythm in the spring. So think about it. Maybe you've been indoors in winter quite a bit, and you're maybe around under artificial light way more than you want it to be. It happens. But now with the increasing brightness of the spring light and the increasing warmth of the temperatures, this is the perfect time to start to reestablish healthy circadian signaling, which means being able to block the artificial light at key times, going out at sunrise and other parts of the morning and the afternoon and evening to allow your brain to sense time throughout the day. And remember, it does that because the ever-changing amount and intensity of blue light all day long. It's like a metronome that keeps time or keeps pace for our brain, and we capture that through naked eyes. And so if you've yet to experience the healing benefits of light, both signaling through the eyes and by being able to allow healing sunlight on the skin in a very healthy way and in this gradual adaptation, I highly, highly encourage you to embrace this spring light. And I am launching a spring reset challenge. Like I did it last year to teach these very topics and these very concepts. How to go outside, when to go outside, why would I go outside at this time versus this time? What are the benefits? How do I start to build this solar adaptation with my skin? What does that look like? And how long do I have to be out there? What will my skin tell me when I've had enough light? And I had countless people who, I had so much amazing feedback from this last year where people literally started engaging with the light with this spring reset challenge. And then from then on out, they were able to then assimilate all the beautiful light from the summer, from the fall, and then even they started to learn how to embrace the winter. And I've had people join my community or people who I've been on their podcast, and they've interviewed me and they said that was this was the very start of them being able to engage with the sun, and they never want to go back. They feel so much better with an intact circadian rhythm, so much better by knowing how to absorb nature's light frequencies for healing support through the skin. And spring is the most amazing and best time to do it because that is when the light is slowly starting to get more and more intense. The days are getting longer and longer. A great time to be able to embrace all of the healing benefits that the sun has to offer.